Hi everyone and welcome back to another video for the Learn English Teens website and their YouTube channel. My name is Megan, if you haven't watched any of my videos before on this channel, and I'm living in Berlin at the moment. I was living in Hanover at the beginning of my year abroad, and now I'm living in Berlin. So I thought I'd make a video about the things that I personally find to be so different between the UK and Germany. And these are all things that probably every day crop up in my life and continue to surprise me. But yeah, I just thought this might be an interesting video if you have never been to Germany and would like to see what it's like, or the other way around, if you've never been to the UK and want to see some differences between the two different countries. So in order to highlight some of the main differences between Germany and the UK, I've actually written a list of 5 things that you should do in Germany that you wouldn't necessarily do in the UK. So the first one on my list is definitely use public transport. I think Germany is sort of known worldwide for its public transport system, and the idea that it's always punctual and always on time, that trains are never late, this idea might be a bit construed, but Deutsche Bahn definitely knows how to provide a more reliable and enjoyable service than the one that we have in the UK. It also makes a lot more sense to me to use public transport when it's here in such great availability. You know, when I live in Berlin now, there's an underground that runs every 3 to 4 minutes, or I can get on a bus or I can get on a tram. So there's loads of different options. And if I were to get a taxi or to drive anywhere, it would just take so much longer and you'd be sat in traffic. And yeah, also I want to note that Berlin's underground system is so much quieter than London's. Berlin, has a much smaller population size, and therefore it's not as crowded, it's not as hot, it's not as uncomfortable as London's, and therefore, yeah, you should definitely use it if you come to Berlin, and definitely use public transport across all of Germany, really. I've never really had a bad experience, and yeah, it's something I definitely recommend. So the second thing on my list, so the second thing you should do in Germany that you wouldn't necessarily do in the UK, although you should, is do wait for the green man. I think we Brits have quite a bad reputation for seeing the road is clear and just crossing, regardless of whether it's on red or green. And obviously I do not recommend this. It's not a great idea at all in any circumstance, but we do it. I definitely am guilty of sometimes just thinking, well, the road's clear, I'm just going to cross. But in Germany, that's definitely not a thing. Unless you want to be tussed at by the old lady stood next to you, definitely wait for the green man. Yeah, it's just not something Germans do. It's not just something Germans, Germans will always criticise you for doing it, and it's just not seen as a good thing to do. So yeah, always wait for the green man. So the third thing you should do in Germany that you wouldn't necessarily need to do in the UK is have cash on you. So in the UK, we're quite a cashless society. A lot of people won't have cash on them if they have their cards with them, because it's pretty much everywhere you are able to use your debit or credit card. But something that continues to surprise me in Germany is the fact that they are such a cash-using society. So often you won't be able to pay by card, or they will say you can only pay by card if the price of the transaction is over 10 euros. So this is something I've really struggled actually to get used to, because when I was in the UK, I would always just get out my debit card and often just use contactless payment. So that would just mean I'd just swipe it on and it was done. But here it's so often, oh, I need to go get cash out. So yeah, I would always recommend, if you're in Germany, to have a bit of cash on you so that you're not stuck not being able to pay for something, because that's definitely happened to me a few times where I've got to the till, I'm looking forward to buying something, and they say, no, we don't take debit cards. So yeah, I'd always have some cash on you if you're in Germany. The final thing I would recommend that you should do in Germany that you don't really have to worry about in England or in the UK is stocking up. And by stocking up, I mean preparing and having food or anything that you need in on a Saturday, because on Sundays in Germany everything is shut apart from restaurants and cafes. So supermarkets, clothes shops, basically most places are shut, whereas in the UK Sundays is quite a big shopping day actually. I would often, when I was at uni, do my food shop for the week on a Sunday, or I might go into town and buy a new top or look around the shops, but that's just not an option in Germany. Everything is shut. So if you want to be able to eat on a Sunday, then definitely make sure you have some food in the fridge on the Saturday so that you aren't starving on Sunday. And yeah, I think that rounds up my 4 things that you should do in Germany that you can't, well, not that you can't do in the UK, things that you should do in Germany that you don't necessarily think about if you're in the UK or from the UK. So I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm definitely planning on making a lot more soon. So if you want to leave any comments of things that you want me to talk about in the future, then just comment them down below. Thanks for watching. Bye.